Wait, what did I come in here for again? Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why? Or blanked out on a name you've known for years? It happens to all of us, but for some, it's happening more and more. And the reason might not just be getting older. It could be a common vitamin deficiency, one that affects how your brain communicates, remembers, and reacts. In today's story, we'll follow three older adults, Alina, Mvin, and Estelle, as they discover how something so simple, yet overlooked, can profoundly impact memory, mood, and even independence. Their journeys are real. Their symptoms are familiar. And what they learn might just change how you take care of your brain. Welcome to my Senior Health Tips, your trusted guide to feeling stronger, thinking clearer, and living better in your golden years. Whether you're dealing with brain fog, energy dips, or just curious about how to age with vitality, you're in the right place. Each week, we bring you helpful advice that's backed by experts but delivered in plain language, real stories, and small steps you can start today. From exercises and nutrition to sleep and memory, we're here to walk with you. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell, because this week, we're exploring the surprising link between vitamin B12 and memory. And next week, we're sharing a morning routine to sharpen your mind in just 5 minutes. Chapter 1, Alinas Story. I thought it was just age. Alina Gable was never one to forget. In her 30s, she ran a small florist shop in Derby Creek, remembered every customer's birthday, every allergy, and could tell a tulip from a daisy in the dark. Now at 71, she found herself searching for her words, not just occasionally, but often enough to worry. I'd be talking to my daughter on the phone, and the simplest word, like, refrigerator, would just disappear, she said. It made me feel dim, like the lights were flickering. At first, she brushed it off. Her friends were forgetting things, too. It's just getting older, right? But the forgetfulness got worse. She burned dinner twice in 1 week. Missed her water aerobics class entirely, even though she laid her towel out the night before. One afternoon, she put her purse in the freezer. I laughed it off at first. But inside, I was scared. My mother had dementia. I was thinking, is this how it starts? Alina's daughter, Noreen, convinced her to see a doctor. Not a neurologist, just her GP. And that's where things took a turn. After a simple blood test, Alina was diagnosed with vitamin B12 deficiency, a condition that mimics early dementia in older adults. Her levels were critically low. And what shocked her most? She had no idea what B12 even did. Vitamin B12 plays a major role in maintaining healthy nerve function and supporting brain health. Low levels can cause memory problems, confusion, mood swings, and even balance issues, all things commonly mistaken for just aging. No one told me that something as small as a vitamin could make me feel so foggy. I thought I was losing my mind. Turns out, I was just low on B12. Alina began B12 supplementation, first through injections, then daily tablets. Within 3 weeks, the mental fog started to lift. I felt sharper. More myself. Like my brain was clicking again. Chapter 2, Mvins misdiagnosis. They said it was depression. Mvin Ralph never thought he'd spend his 68th birthday staring out the window, unsure what day it was. He had been a high school biology teacher for 35 years in the quiet town of Silver Bend. Known for his dry humor and tidy classroom, Mvin could once recite entire Shakespeare monologues from memory, just to keep students awake. But lately, the sparkle was gone. He wasn't laughing. He wasn't engaging. And worst of all, he couldn't focus on anything. At first, Mvin blamed grief. He'd lost his wife, Pearl, 2 years earlier to breast cancer. But even after time had dulled the sting, Mvin's mind didn't bounce back. He began forgetting conversations entirely. I'd talk with my son about something important, he recalled, and the next day, gone. Like it never happened. He stopped going to his chess club. Forgot to pay bills. Left the stove on, twice. His doctor said it was likely depression, situational sadness, they called it, and prescribed an antidepressant. Mvin took it, hoping for clarity. But weeks passed, then months. Nothing improved. If anything, he felt more tired, less connected, and even more confused. But it was his former student, Joyan, now a nurse practitioner, who raised a red flag. During a friendly visit, she noticed Mvins struggling to remember the name of a mutual friend. Twice. When he misidentified his own medication, she urged him to get a full blood workup, including something many doctors still skip, a B12 panel. The results were surprising, even to Mvins' physician. His vitamin B12 levels were drastically low, far below the threshold needed to keep his nervous system functioning properly. When B12 levels drop, especially in older adults, the brain often slows down. That can look like depression, dementia, or just being off. But treating the mood doesn't fix the root problem, and in Mvins' case, it delayed recovery. "I was chasing the wrong enemy," he said. "All that time, thinking I was broken. But really, I was just depleted." His treatment began with weekly injections. After the third shot, his energy lifted. By the fifth, he called Joyan and beat her at chess, twice. "It wasn't instant," Mvins said. "But it was real. Like waking up from a fog." Mvins' story is a powerful reminder: not every memory lapse is permanent. Not every low mood is emotional. Sometimes, it's biochemical. And sometimes, it's fixable. If you or a loved one has been told it's just aging or sadness, ask the deeper question. It might not be psychological. It might be nutritional. And catching it early could bring more clarity than you imagined. Here's the last story about Estelle. Estelle Merrin had always been a sharp dresser and an even sharper thinker. At 79, she was known around her neighborhood in Loxley Ridge for her vibrant scarves and for still doing her own bookkeeping, even helping neighbors organize their taxes every spring. But slowly, that mental clarity started slipping. She began confusing dates on her calendar, repeating stories, forgetting her PIN number, not just once, but several times in a row. One afternoon, she left her car running for over an hour in the driveway. Her son, Eli, grew concerned. After a few more worrying moments, like the time Estelle called her friend twice in one day asking the same question, they decided to visit a memory clinic. The initial evaluation suggested early-stage dementia. Estelle was devastated. "I didn't feel gone," she said. "I felt tired, cloudy, like my mind was wading through mud. But I didn't feel like I was disappearing." Still, the diagnosis shook her. But during a second opinion at a larger hospital, the neurologist asked a simple question: "Has anyone checked your B12 levels?" The results came back critically low. Estelle wasn't dealing with Alzheimer's. She was dealing with a severe vitamin B12 deficiency that had been overlooked. Why B12 deficiency is so often missed? Most people, and sadly, many doctors, assume that forgetfulness or confusion in older adults is simply part of aging. But here's the key. Low B12 can mimic dementia, but it's treatable. If caught early, B12 deficiency symptoms can be reversed, or at least improved, with proper supplementation. Yet according to recent studies, up to 20% of adults over 60 may be B12 deficient, and many of them don't know it. Why? Because B12 absorption naturally declines with age, especially for people who have digestive issues, like gastritis or acid reflux. Take antacids or metformin. Follow a low-meat or vegetarian diet. Have had surgery involving the stomach or intestines. Estelle had been on acid reflux medication for years, and no one connected it to her symptoms. What you can learn from Estelle's experience. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with memory issues, or is just starting to notice frequent brain fog, don't panic. But do take these steps. 1. Ask for a second opinion if something doesn't feel right. You know your mind better than anyone. 2. Request a full blood panel, including B12. Advocate for yourself. B12 deficiency is often overlooked. 3. Keep a simple memory journal. Track small slips and mood changes. This can help detect patterns or improvements once treatment starts. 4. Talk to your pharmacist. Some common medications, like PPIs or diabetes meds, can interfere with B12 absorption. Knowing that can guide your care. Estelle's levels were corrected through high-dose B12 injections. Within a month, she was balancing her checkbook again and remembering birthdays without reminders. I got my rhythm back, she smiled. I was never losing myself. I was just low on what my brain needed. You've heard the stories. But what about you? What about your body, or your mind, whispering signals before the storm hits? Not all signs of B12 deficiency scream out loud. In fact, most start off subtly, slowly, almost quietly enough to ignore. But tuning into them, before they grow, could be the difference between years of cognitive decline and a relatively quick fix. Let's talk through the red flags most people miss. 1. You're always tired, but sleep doesn't help. It's not just age. And it's not just a bad night's rest. If you're sleeping 7 to 9 hours and still feel foggy, heavy, or as though you're dragging a sandbag behind you, low B12 could be a culprit. B12 helps your body create red blood cells, the very cells that carry oxygen to your brain and muscles. Without enough of it, your energy systems slow down, leading to morning grogginess that doesn't shake, afternoon crashes even after eating, brain fog that feels like mental cotton. 2. Memory slips that feel just a bit off. Forgetfulness happens to everyone. But B12-related memory changes often have a unique flavor. You forget recent conversations, not just old memories. You struggle to find words in the middle of sentences. You blank out while driving, missing turns or exits. You feel like your brain is trying, but something's missing. These signs often come and go. That's why many people dismiss them as normal aging. But they're worth tracking and mentioning to your doctor. 3. Tingling or numbness in hands and feet. One of the lesser-known but most serious symptoms of B12 deficiency? Peripheral neuropathy or nerve damage. It often begins as a tingling in your fingers or toes, a sense of pins and needles when resting, numbness or rubbery sensation in your feet. Unchecked, this damage can become permanent. But when caught early, especially if B12 is the cause, it's reversible. 4. Mood changes that seem out of character. Do you feel more irritable lately? Or more anxious? Or even depressed? You're not imagining it. B12 is crucial for producing serotonin and dopamine, the brain's feel-good chemicals. Without enough B12, mood dips can appear seemingly from nowhere, including feeling unmotivated or disinterested in things you once enjoyed, bursts of anger or sadness that don't make sense, a sense of emotional heaviness. Many older adults are prescribed antidepressants without ever having their B12 checked. That's why we always recommend a blood panel before accepting a diagnosis. 5. Balance and coordination problems. Some people don't notice cognitive issues first, they feel it in their feet. Do you feel unsteady when getting out of bed? Have trouble walking in a straight line? Bump into furniture more than usual? B12 deficiency can damage the nerves that control balance. In older adults, this increases the risk of falls, a leading cause of hospitalizations. You don't have to wait until it gets worse. These early signs, tiredness, forgetfulness, tingling, mood shifts, balance changes, they're your body's way of whispering, I need help. And sometimes, that help is as simple as a vitamin. How to naturally boost your B12 without pills first. Now that you know what to look for, the next question becomes, what can I do about it? Before you jump into supplements or prescriptions, let's explore how your everyday choices, the meals on your plate, the habits in your day, can support healthy B12 levels naturally. Because while supplementation may be needed in some cases, especially for older adults with absorption issues, it always helps to begin with foundation first: your food, your digestion, your lifestyle. Let's walk through it. 1. Start with food, nature's first medicine. Vitamin B12 is found naturally only in animal products. So if you're vegetarian or vegan, or you've reduced red meat or dairy, your intake might already be low. Here's where B12 is found in the highest concentrations. Beef liver, extremely rich in B12. Clams, sardines, salmon, and tuna. Eggs, especially the yolks. Milk, cheese, and yogurt. Fortified cereals or plant-based milks. Check the label. Add salmon or eggs 2-3 eggs a week for a natural B12 boost. A simple B12-rich breakfast. Scrambled eggs plus Greek yogurt plus fortified whole grain toast equals brain fuel. But here's the catch. Even if you're eating these foods, your body might not absorb the B12 well, especially as you age. 2. Understand the absorption problem. Here's something most people don't realize. Even if you're eating plenty of B12-rich foods, your body still needs something called intrinsic factor, a protein made in your stomach, to absorb it. But after age 60, up to 30% of adults produce less of it. The result? Malabsorption. Also, common medications like acid reducers, like omeprazole or famotidine, metformin, used for diabetes, certain antibiotics, can reduce B12 absorption even further. This means you could be eating all the right things and still fall low. That's why doctors often recommend injections or sublingual, under the tongue, supplements in moderate to severe cases. 3. Support your gut. It's where B12 enters. A healthy digestive system means better nutrient absorption, including B12. You can support yours by eating fiber-rich vegetables, broccoli, leafy greens, carrots, including probiotic-rich foods like kefir, yogurt, sauerkraut, or kimchi, drinking plenty of water, avoiding unnecessary antibiotics or overuse of heartburn meds. Think of it this way. A healthy gut is like a well-oiled lock. B12 is the key. Without the lock working properly, the key just bounces off the door. 4. Space your meals for maximum absorption. This might sound surprising, but timing matters too. Here's how. Avoid drinking coffee or tea with meals. They can interfere with nutrient absorption. Add a B12-rich food to one small meal per day, rather than loading it all into one large dinner. Try eating B12 sources with a little fat, like olive oil, avocado, or eggs, to help your body use the vitamin more efficiently. Small changes in your kitchen can lead to big changes in your clarity, mood, and memory. And whether you're 60, 70, or 90, it's never too late to nourish your brain from the inside out. We know memory loss can feel scary and confusing. So here are some of the most common questions we get from viewers just like you. How do I know if my memory issues are from B12 deficiency or something more serious? A. Great question. The truth is, it's hard to tell on your own. B12 deficiency can mimic dementia, but unlike dementia, it's often reversible. If you're experiencing forgetfulness, brain fog, or even mood swings, ask your doctor for a simple B12 blood test. It's quick and can reveal a lot. Question 2. What causes low B12 in older adults? Several things. As we age, our stomachs produce less acid, which makes it harder to absorb B12 from food. Certain medications, like metformin or acid reducers, can also interfere. And some people just don't eat enough B12-rich foods like meat, fish, or eggs. Tip: if you're over 60, it's smart to check B12 levels once a year. Question 3. Can I fix this just by taking a vitamin? Sometimes, but not always. For mild cases, yes, a daily supplement might help. But if your levels are very low, your doctor may recommend B12 shots to get you back on track quickly. It's important to follow medical advice and monitor your progress. Question 4. I eat well. Could I still be deficient? Yes, surprisingly. Even with a good diet, if your body isn't absorbing B12 properly, it can still become depleted. That's why blood work is key. You can't guess your levels based on food alone. Question 5. What are some early warning signs I should never ignore? Watch for these. Frequent memory lapses, feeling confused in familiar places, mood swings or irritability, tingling or numbness in hands or feet, trouble with balance. If these sound familiar, don't wait. Testing now could make a huge difference. Have more questions about B12, memory, or aging well? Drop them in the comments. We read and respond to as many as we can. And your question might help someone else, too.